No problem with the 80s at all.
Right.
Setting up our meeting for YouTube.
Now live streaming.
Okay.
You hear that?
Yes. We're now live streaming, sweetie. Okay, I'm going to let in these folks.
Okay.
It's got a different sound than this one.
Yes, it absolutely does. Hi, Lotta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Somebody, Kino. Kino is outside.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And we have Dario is a light bulb. Oh, people, let's see. I got to change this setting to admit everybody as they come. Take that off. There we go. Very good. It's funny, somebody in the middle, oh, Teresa, she's just a black box. Where she's at. She has reached emptiness. She has achieved the true emptiness there. So I hope everybody is doing well in our sort of partial shutdown state that we're in here. Everybody's wearing their mascarillas outside, but otherwise seems kind of like life sort of, at least here in Madrid, is sort of normal for an August, except everybody's wearing masks, pretty much 90%. And Monica in San Francisco, is it still just dead and, or is it?
Well, it's been really hot, so the parks have been really full. Like there's a small park nearby with the circles, but almost every circle is full with a group of people, you know, so people are out with their families. The beaches I heard are really full, but just walking down the street, it's very strange because so many small businesses are still required to be closed. So a lot of places are shut down, and yet there are a few that have added that outdoor seating area. And it's so strange to me because it's like America is becoming European with all the outdoor seating that we've never seen before. And there are a lot of people congregating there. So it's a strange combination of kind of some blocks are pretty empty and boarded up. And then you'll see a restaurant that's just, you know, has a line out the door and people waiting to sit outside with their families. Okay. And then as far as people wearing the masks, still surprisingly a lot of people who don't even have their mask down. They're not even wearing.
Thank you, Anna Monica, for that very complete update. I always, you know, for 5 months, we did this together from California right after we've had our coffee, and I can really see the difference. You know, now it's in the afternoon and.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Anna Monica.
That's what happened when we bought an espresso machine.
Yeah. So what I thought we would do today is slightly different. Thanks to Luis. Luis last week asked me about visualization, I think it was, in our practice, using visualization or imagination, you could also say. And so I thought about it a little bit over the week, and then I listened to a very nice Dharma talk by a young British man who works out of Gaia House. And he was like one of the followers of Rob Burbea, who recently passed away and was the resident teacher there at Gaia House for I don't know how many years, many years. And this guy's name, Nathan Glide is his name. And I listened to a couple of his Dharma talks and just phenomenal. I absolutely recommend him. And he was just doing a retreat, I believe, for people in Israel. So it was being translated into Hebrew. And as a result, he spoke very slowly. So it was very nice to and easy to follow. Um, and what he brought up and what I thought we would do, unless there's some serious objection, and this is also how I've been taught this, but when we do metta, when we do the metta practice like we do at the end, to use visualization, to use kind of our imagination and our feelings to feel the metta rather than just think about it. And once we generate, if we generate a little bit of feeling from the metta, that becomes the object of our attention. That becomes our anchor. That's what we put our attention on. And it is a form of samadhi practice, a samatha practice, concentration practice, as well as kind of being the goal, which in Spanish, I think the goal is metta. So the metta of metta is to have metta. So we'll talk more about that after our first meditation. But I thought maybe we'd do like a 15-minute metta. And so then we'll do like a 25-minute starting meditation, the samatha, or you could call it samadhi meditation. And we won't add any vipassana part. We'll just do a samadhi meditation, 25 minutes, talk a little bit, and then do a 15-minute metta meditation. Unless there's any objections. Any objections? No? Okay, cool. I look forward to this. Got my little timer here. Okay, so find your comfortable posture. And Nathan in his talk acknowledged something that is very present, like in the Zen tradition, which we've been talking a little bit from the Beginner's Mind book, but about how the posture generates a certain kind of energy, right? Our body can generate energy. Our body can inform the mind and inform the nervous system. And so it is important to have, this noble, relaxed, stable posture. It is very helpful. And if today you need to lay down or be more comfortable, that's okay. If you're very sleepy, maybe you need to stand up. Finding our comfortable, stable, noble posture. Let's find it with our awareness. Maybe starting at the belly, feeling the inhalation and the exhalation, the movement of the belly. And one thing Suzuki Roshi says in his book, if there's thoughts, don't push them away. Just let them kind of run their course, you might say. You don't need to stop a thinking sentence in mid-sentence. You can let it finish. So maybe now from the belly, allowing the awareness to expand, filling the body with mindfulness, with awareness. Noticing whatever might be present. Maybe there's a little tingling in the body, currents of energy, tickling. Maybe or hopefully there's sensation at the points of contact where your body is touching the chair, the cushion, the floor. So one way we can do this, we can just kind of scan through the body like we're doing an inventory of the body and the body sensations. The idea here is to ground our mind into the body, to create this embodied presence that is mindfulness. Maybe noticing the weight of the body. And so, depending on maybe how sleepy you are or how energetic you are, the whole posture can make a very good anchor, especially if you have a lot of energy, kind of fidgety or excited, maybe a more expansive awareness and expansive anchor, like the whole body, the posture. Or we can use the breath. So finding the breath, finding where it's easy to follow, easy to feel, pleasant to notice. So maybe in the belly again, the movement of the chest, or just the passage of air through the lungs, or at the nostril. And finding what works for you. And if today the body and the breath, if both are not really working for you, you can always use sounds or listening as an anchor. Just kind of that receptivity that comes from just hearing or listening, not at any one particular thing, but just whatever arises. So we just keep coming back to the anchor when there's thought. Don't push the thoughts away. Just kind of let them run their course. What you'll notice if you come to the anchor and then oof, immediately back to the thought, sounds like they need a little more time. But then poco a poco, we can stay with the breath, stay with the body, stay with the hearing. A little bit longer, relaxing into that state of calm, relaxed concentration we call samadhi. If you are experiencing a lot of thought or distraction, one trick you could use, or tool really, is ask yourself, what are you wanting or what are you not wanting? Is there wanting in the mind, grasping, or is there not wanting, aversion in the mind? And sometimes just recognizing that can be enough for it to loosen up, to let go. And we just kind of hold it, we just notice it and let it run its course, let it pass. So for these final couple minutes of our formal practice, drawing the attention back into the body, letting go whatever we were working on or doing up to this moment. Just reconnecting with the present moment through the body, feeling the body. And then just taking a moment to acknowledge your practice, the practice of others on this call. And remembering that although this can seem like kind of a selfish practice that we do sort of by ourselves, that in fact it is not that. And it is really a practice to benefit all beings. There's no better way that we can, I believe, be of service, be useful in this life if we don't take care of ourselves first, if we don't give ourselves that loving attention, that kind attention we call mindfulness. And then maybe just imagining you can extend your awareness to include everybody here on this call, giving them a big, warm, virtual hug with your attention, and then spreading it out in all directions. Maybe reminding us that we're not just these small little bodies, but quite vast. We can be quite vast. And when you hear the sound of the bell, just noticing whatever comes up, sensations, thoughts. Thank you, everyone. Feel very supported having you guys there. I had to put it on mute there for a while, though. It was very noisy where I am. There were planes, helicopters, and motorcycles. And I don't know, I think there was supposed to be a manifestation about something in Madrid today, but I don't know when. I don't know if it had anything to do with that, but it was quite active there for a while. I thought before I talk a little bit about the Dharma and this theme of blending the Samadhi practice with the Metta, I did want to make a couple announcements, and I also forgot last week to do this, so I want to make sure I do it today. Mainly regarding Saladhana. It is coming along. We're doing construction in what we call in the United States, we call it construction here, it's a reforma. And I'm very happy with how things are going. I think in part because there's no like real big rush to open up. It's like, do we even want to open up? So it feels very relaxed. So we've even done a couple things that I was debating about, like we expanded the window in the back. We added 2 more levels of glass brick so more light can come in. And I'm going to paint some of the walls because that white was just too white for me. I couldn't take it anymore. And then I don't know, here I'll show you my so the architect didn't like these metal columns. They were actually just metal boxes that covered pipes, drain pipes. The prior owner didn't like how they looked, so he made these metal pipes. Well, the architect didn't like how the metal boxes looked, so he had before I got here, he had the contractors build big boxes around the metal boxes, taking up all sorts of space. So I had him make this little alcove in one of them. And so our Buddha, as many of you remember, it usually sits on the stereo box, fits perfectly in there. So I was very happy with our little alcove there. And anyway, so I'm quite excited. And I think by first week of September, second week of September, it could be done. And then legal, whatever. I mean, I think we will then be a legal space to have groups. Not that we're illegal now, but we don't have like the permanent stamp. And then it's just a matter of deciding, how we want to approach it. Maybe have small groups up to 15 people or something like that. But it's coming along very well. And you're welcome to come by anytime and take a look. There's a lot of polvo right now. There's like polvo everywhere, and it's just a big mess. But I like it. And okay, and then I have a request. I'm looking for another artist, because we're going to get new cierres. We're going to get new persianas on the outside, and they're just going to be basically a gray canvas. And if we don't paint something on them, somebody else will. And so I really want to put like our logo, Saladana, Centro de Meditación, with the hand and the lotus on one of them, and then maybe a Buddha figure on another. So if you have anybody who would be interested in that, please have them contact me. And those might even come this week. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's nothing on them for 2 weeks. Somebody else will put something on them. So hopefully we can find somebody.
I can do that.
You can? Woo woo. Really? But you don't look like you're in Madrid. Are you coming to Madrid?
But I'll be back from the 24th.
Okay.
So we can look into that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could send me, do you have my WhatsApp, or I'll just send it to you right now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right. Great. Okay. So yeah, I thought I would talk a little bit about this, really drawing from this talk that I heard from Nathan Glide, that he gave a couple talks at this retreat, a virtual retreat, a Zoom retreat that he did. He was in some city place, because there were all sorts of noises coming from his microphone. It's quite interesting. Dogs barking, trucks going by. But I think the majority of his participants were in Israel. And his partner, the lady who co-taught that, is Israeli. I think she's English Israeli. And her part was in Hebrew. But some of the stuff he said, I never really thought of it quite like that, and I just loved it. So I thought I would share it with you guys. And what the name of this retreat was, Samadhi and Metta. Literally that, Samadhi and Metta. So first I'll just give kind of a definition of Samadhi, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Metta. Samadhi is that state of mind when there are no hindrances present. And as some of you know, there's historically 5 hindrances or obstaculos in the Buddhist tradition. And I liked how Nathan also defined them. He used what I would consider to be a little bit more modern language than, you know, what the Buddha used, kind of expanding their definitions, and I think in a very positive way. So the first one, the first hindrance, which I alluded to a little bit in the meditation, is grasping. It's greed. It's wanting more. Desire is often how it's translated, desire. So when we're wanting, when there's clinging, grasping in the mind, we can't really be relaxed. We can't really be concentrated, right? Because we're like, these things cause a contraction, a tension, wanting, right? And on the flip side of that, then is the not wanting, the aversion, or, you know, you could even go so far as call it ill will or hatred or anything that's got a emotion of I don't want. And the mind, just by its nature, is constantly assessing everything we come in contact with as to whether it wants more of it or it wants less or none at all. This is just the mind is constantly trying to decide, is this good or is this not good? Is this going to help me survive or not? But what can happen, so the mind is constantly doing this, but we can then kind of go for a ride with it if we're not mindful, right? As we'll start pushing. Like my big thing is, you know, I have sinusitis. I have a sinus condition that has gotten worse over the last few years. So when I sit and when I put my attention here, or even if I don't, it's very obvious, right? And it sometimes can be even kind of painful, but definitely annoying. It's so annoying, right? So if I try to ignore it, if I try to push it away, guess what? It just gets worse, right? It doesn't go away. I can't hide from it. The only choice I really have is to just be with it. And when I be with it, usually within a few minutes, things are good and my meditation proceeds nicely, right? So it's a case of the aversion. It's as Nathan put it, it's not the object that's the problem, it's our relationship with the object, right? So I've got this sinusitis, I've got this pressure in my nose, in my teeth, whatever. That's what it is. I can either accept it and be with it, or I can hate it and want it to go away, or I can, you know, grasp how it used to be years ago. There's the greed, right? God, if my nose was only how it used to be. Those are not helpful to reach any sort of state of samadhi. You're just constantly like this. The next two, they kind of come in these two groups of two. The next group is a agitated mind or a worrying mind, an excited mind. And on the flip side of that, a sleepy mind, a drowsy mind, right? The word, I think it's often translated as sloth and torpor. Words from like the 16th century, but but it's basically when we're lacking in energy. The first one is when there's like too much energy. The second, lacking in energy. And then the final one, and I really like how Nathan said this, it just made total sense to me. Normally the fifth one is defined as doubt, skeptical doubt. That's like the translation from the Pali, skeptical doubt. But what he said was confusion. And I like that very, very much, because almost for sure, if I have skeptical doubt, if I have any kind of doubt about my practice, it's coming from a state of confusion. Because realistically, everything's fine. Everything is just fine. The mind generates these doubts. the mind gets confused and can create a lot of confusion. So we got greed, we got aversion, we got excited, we got sleepiness, we got confusion. When those things are not present is when we are in a state of samadhi. Right? When they fall away, and you might have it for a couple breaths, you could have it for 10 breaths, or if you go on long retreat, you might be able to have it for quite a long time. It's the absence of those 5 things. So now, he then brought up, I thought this was so beautiful. So samadhi is a form of attention that is kind, if not loving. Ram Dass would call it loving awareness. Okay? So when we're not greedy, when we're not averse or hating, and of course we have the right amount of energy, we're not too excited, we're not too sleepy, and we're not confused, what then arises is this kind, loving awareness that we can direct towards ourselves, or we can even direct towards others. This is metta. So in fact, it leads, in fact, he even would say that samadhi and metta, they're really the same thing. You can't distinguish between them. So now when we do our metta practice, usually at the end of our sessions, we use phrases, and phrases are generally how a metta practice is practiced, especially started. But they have a purpose. It isn't like to just recite them, okay, may I be happy, may you be happy, may I be well, just for the point of doing it. I mean, you could do that. It's kind of like prayer. I mean, I'm not too experienced in prayer, but we use words, right, of people who pray. But there's an intention or a reason why we're doing this. And these words hopefully will stimulate sensation. They will create a state of loving kindness. So it's not only are we offering it to ourselves or to others, we're using these words, but through this practice, we are generating this state of loving kindness, which arguably is the same state as samadhi. Because when samadhi is present, when the 5 obstacles are not with us, and samadhi arises, loving kindness arises in that moment. It's a loving, kind awareness. And this is metta. Only with metta, we use the phrases. So what I thought we would do, and here's where, Luis, he had asked the question at the end of the session. Most of you had already signed off, so you probably didn't hear it, but is the using of visualizations, or you could just say imagining in our practice. Here is where it comes in handy. So we use these phrases. May I be happy. May I be happy. And or better yet, let's say, may my mother be happy. May my mother be happy. And so I use visualization to imagine her happy and how that would be for me and for her. And this, even just now, as I said it, I could feel this feeling arise, this wish and a sense of sadness too, because in my mother's case, she's not happy very much. And so we start to generate this feeling in the body, partly why it's so important to be in body, right? To have our attention in the body. And it starts to grow. And on long retreat, you can even get to the point where you don't need the phrases anymore. The sensation, the feeling, the emotion continues on its own. Because one of the beautiful things with mindfulness is, and I love one of my teachers, James Barres, says it probably the best. He says it's the only mental state that will increase wholesome states of mind and decrease unwholesome states of mind. It's the only one, mindfulness. So when you have this wholesome state of mind, this wholesome loving kindness, this sensation that arises, and then we put our awareness on it, we feel it, we pay attention to it, we give it kind attention, it creates this feedback loop. And it reinforces the kindness, it reinforces the love, it reinforces the state of metta inside the body and inside the mind, inside the chitta, the nervous system. And so what I thought we would do is kind of play around with it. And, and this can be very personal, right? Everybody might have their preferred person, or it's not even a person. Maybe it's a pet, but somebody you really love, where when you think of that person, that being happy, being safe, being well, it brings this sense of love and kindness inside you. All right, this is kind of the idea. And I experimented with it today. And I must admit, when I did it towards myself, it was flat. Nothing really came up. But when I thought of my mother, when I thought of my daughters, when I thought of Anna Monica, when I thought of those people I loved, I could start to feel it. And so I thought we would I'll just offer a few phrases, but we'll be mostly, in silence, practicing. And, experiment. Like, pull some people down off the list there and see which one or ones, work for you. Maybe it's all beings. I think for Anna Monica, she really resonates with all beings. May all beings be happy. Why only my mother, right? And then what phrase might work for you? Maybe it's, may they be happy, maybe right now with coronavirus, maybe, may they be well, may they be healthy, may they be safe. For me, what was interesting, I was playing around with some phrases. May I be happy didn't really kind of do it for me. May I be well. But then I said, may I be of service. That one kind of got my attention, right? May I be of service. May I contribute in some way. And that really generated a nice, warm, kind of glowing feeling. So I'll offer just a couple, but I don't want to disturb, what you guys might be doing, but I'll throw out a few here and there. And yeah. So are there any questions, or is there anybody who would like to say something? No? Okay, so I thought we would do this for 15 minutes, if that's okay. And of course, I think it's so important to not have expectations, right? This is just a practice. We're just experimenting, and you may find out something, and you might not. And please, if nothing really arises, don't judge yourself harshly because of that. Okay, so yeah, with metta, we don't need to have, like a zazen kind of posture so rigidly. We can we want to be more comfortable. Again, usually closing our eyes so we can bring our awareness, our attention inward. Just feeling the body and including the heart space, that area around the center of the chest. Now, what I'd like to do, or I'd like to invite you to do, is bring to mind some being you really treasure, you really love unconditionally. Might be a child, might be a grandparent, and it could even be somebody outside your family, maybe a figure, the Buddha, Christ, Mary, or maybe a pet. Somebody, some being where you really feel a connection to them, and you just want goodwill for them, no harm at all. And then let's practice sending, and I'll just add a little bit that it could also be somebody in your life who is struggling a little bit. Like in my case, my mother. Um, for her to be happy, that really does stimulate something in me because she's not happy a lot of the time. So maybe it might be somebody struggling in your life. But we want to make sure we don't resent them for it, or we're not frustrated with them about it. We need to be spacious about it. So just offering them some phrases mentally. May she be happy. May she be peaceful. May she be well. And as you say these phrases, keep a part of your attention on your body and noticing if any emotion or any sensation arises. Maybe even pausing and just feeling whatever it is, just feeling it until it goes, and then resuming with the phrases. May she be happy. May she be peaceful. May she be well. You might even experiment with phrases that are, we often call them karuna or compassion phrases, such as, may she be free from suffering. May she be free from pain. You can always use your own phrases and your own language, whatever works best for you. Que sea feliz, que esté bien. May she have ease and well-being. May she be happy. May she be well. May she be safe. May she be protected. May she be free from suffering, free from harm. May she live with ease, ease and well-being. Just in this last minute, offering metta to all beings, maybe noticing how it is for you to do it now after 14 minutes. May all beings be happy and peaceful. May all beings be healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings live with ease and well-being. May all beings be free. Yeah, thank you. Nice. You have a couple minutes, and I'm also willing to keep the Zoom room open if anybody wants to form small groups. I'm happy to facilitate that. But meanwhile, does anybody want to share or have any questions about what we just did or your practice at home? You know, one of the questions that Nathan brought up that I thought was kind of an interesting question, because like in the Zen practice or even in, you know, our Theravadan practice, we often talk about how we don't practice to achieve anything. We just practice to express our true nature, right? Just it's the practice itself that's the goal. It's just practicing, not trying to achieve anything. And at the same time, with metta and with these things, you know, our brains have a goal or they want something. And he pointed out how it can be very healthy to kind of ask ourselves, okay, what do I want? Right? What do I want with this practice? Why am I practicing? And then, is what I am doing in the service of what I want? It's kind of an interesting, you know, question. And it can, I think, keep us engaged, keep us interested, keep us connected. It's so important that we enjoy this practice, right? I mean, if it wasn't enjoyable, we're not going to keep it up, right? And so we keep kind of looking, modifying, investigating to see what do we really like. I mean, you might find even after this short 15-minute metta meditation that you're like, wow, I like that, you know? A lot of people, they just do metta. They love it, right? They have found a little groove with it and it works for them. So there's nothing wrong with kind of playing around and changing things a little bit and, you know, using different phrases or not using phrases, using different parts of your body for your anchor. I mean, all that's good. It's all onward leading. Even if we're, you know, may not be a direct line, you know, we're kind of moving a little bit like this, but in the Zen tradition, it actually is. It's like, I think Suzuki Roshi uses the metaphor of train tracks. I mean, they're quite like this, but you don't look at the train tracks, he says. You just kind of look at the view and you enjoy the ride. You know. Anyways, I'll stop there. Any questions or? Anna Monica, would you like to take us out? Would you like to share the merit? Can you do that on the put on the spot like that? If not, I can do it, but or unless someone else wants to do it.
I'll try something that's been on my mind. I'm not sure if it's exactly a dedication of merit, but I'll try to keep it short.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate what you just said, because my practices have kind of changed, but the goal, or what feels really good for me, is to find something that helps me feel care, feel love. And the exercise that we just did, the image helped generate this feeling of care and love. And I watched a documentary on Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, a while ago, and he has a beautiful way of generating love, which is like metta, actually. And it's simply to think of someone in your life who has always wanted the best for you, whether they're alive or they've passed, they're someone in your family, a friend, someone who's always believed in you. And this part I really love, someone who has smiled you into smiling, someone who has loved you into loving. And just, yes, the people take a full minute to just hold that person in their hearts. And I would say that if there's someone in our life who has made this moment possible, that we're open to this expression of the practice that allows us to be sitting here with others, receptive, then a vow of gratitude to them. May they be happy. May they be well. May they know our gratitude. And may all beings in all directions, the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged ones, the grasses, the trees, all beings, may all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be liberated. Bing.
Thank you, Anna Monica. I can hit our bell. Where's the stick? Thank you. I imagine somebody might use Mr. Rogers as their person that they can offer metta to. Well, thank you. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like, and whoever sticks around in the next couple minutes, I will form small groups and you guys can share for a few minutes. And some will leave. Bye, Paxi.
Ciao.
Bye, Lara.
Thank you.
Bye, Kino. Looking forward to seeing you, meeting you.
Thank you, Kino.
Okay, well, we have some here. We can make a couple groups. You want to do that? Okay. Let's see if I do 3. Yeah, there we go.